So, good night once again, everyone. The purpose of tonight's class, we are going through all of the exercises. Because remember, the exercise is basically the practical part of what we have learned so far. So, we're going through all of the exercises to see if you fully grasp everything that you would have learned so far. And we're going to add some additional points.
Oh my god.
We're going to add some additional points to what you would have learned so far because there's some additional information that you can gather from the exercises. So that's another reason why we're going through it. So to get us started, Anaya will be doing exercise one for us. And in exercise one, it says we're creating a spreadsheet and she will type the following data into sheet one. And she would have done that there. Now the second point is to merge the headings containing the title donations collected across A and B. So how would you have did that?
So I selected cell A1 and B1 and then highlighted them together and then clicked on the merge and center icon.
Okay. Now note that the exercise told you to merge and not merge and center. Is there a difference?
Yes, sir. The difference would be that if you just merge it alone, then it wouldn't center in the cell.
Good.
Whereas if you merge it center, it's going to center.
Good. So what option how would we find that merge option?
For me, the merge, the merge icon was just at the top here, so I would think you just move and just click on merge cells instead of merge and center.
Great, good. That's correct. And step number three, you're required to double click on sheet one to rename it as main. So when you double click on a sheet, it allows you to rename it. Um, is there another way for you to rename it? Just in case persons don't know. You know, there's some persons who cannot double click. For some reason, they just cannot double click. Is there another way to rename a sheet?
Like series?
Um, Not that I can remember. I just stick to the double click and
Does
double
any,
click on sheet and entered it. And
right.
yeah, that's the only one I remembered.
Does anyone know? Is there another way for us to rename it? Anyone else? Randlin, Akila, Jahim,
No, sir, I don't know.
Sierra, Shaniqua,
Sir, do you go to the inbox? Can I come in?
Inbox. That's something different. We're talking about a sheet. Renaming the sheet. Alright, so when you double click on the sheet name, so double click on main, that there allows you to rename it. Now click somewhere else and right click on main now. Right click and you're gonna notice a few options here. You're gonna notice a pop-up menu and you have a few options here. So if you want to insert a sheet, you can do that at the top option. If you want to delete, you have that option there. If you want to rename, so instead of double clicking, you could have used this option here. And then also we have the move and copy option. So if we ever want to copy the sheet here, so say there's a lot of data inside the sheet. If we ever want to copy the sheet, instead of highlighting everything and right clicking on it and using the copy option and then paste it in another sheet, we can use this copy option or this move option to copy a sheet. So if you click on it, this box will appear and the first part at the top, move selected sheets to book. So if we actually want to move this sheet here, if you notice at the bottom is the sheet and the top is the book. So we can actually move a sheet to another Excel file or to another workbook. So if you actually click on the drop down arrow for donations, right? Click it.
Yes, sir.
I guess we're not seeing it because of the how you're sharing. But if you guys try it out in your computer, when you click on it, if you have multiple Excel files open, you're actually gonna see it show up there. Anaya, are you seeing an option to create a new book?
Yes, sir.
Good. So you can also see that option also. If you want to create a new Excel file, a new workbook, so that you can move the sheet over into that new book. So if you notice, this box here is the move or copy. So by default, it will move. Please remember that by default, it will move. So if you selected a different sheet, if you selected a different book and you selected one of the sheets and you clicked OK, it would move that sheet to another file, to another Excel file automatically. But if you notice at the bottom, there's a create a copy option. So if you actually want to make a copy of it, you would need to check that box. So do that for me. Check the box and click OK. And you notice it makes a copy of the sheet. So notice we have main 2 there. So it's the same sheet, same information inside of it, and we just make a duplicate of that sheet. So say one sheet, you want to keep it safe, you want to make some changes, but you want to have a backup copy basically. That is how you make a copy of it. Are all of you following?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we just looked at the options for renaming, inserting, deleting, and copying and moving a sheet. Good. So point number 4 for the exercise, you're required to highlight the headings in row 3 and make them bold.
Sir, what I basically just put the cursor at the beginning, and then I click and drag. Come on, work. Yes, and I highlighted them individually.
Or you went into it
Made them
individually.
bold.
So you went in individually.
Yes, sir.
So wouldn't it have been easier for you to highlight everything at once?
Yes, sir, but at the time I was doing it on my phone, so I didn't get the option.
So if you highlight all at once, you can try it now.
Right.
You don't have to go to the end. Just go to the very center of the cell. Whenever you're highlighting a cell, go to the center. You come out of the cell. You're inside of it.
Oh, okay.
So whenever you're highlighting, go to the center and then click and drag.
Wait, okay. Wait.
Good. And when you do that now you can apply the bold option to all of them.
What?
Alright, I think you got the idea.
Yeah, I get the idea, but it's not cooperated.
Is you or the computer?
I think it's me.
Alright, good. So that's it for point number 4. Anybody remember the shortcut for bold?
For Control B.
Good. Control and B. Good. The last point now. The last point says to save the sheet.
Okay, what I did is save the sheet. I can clicked on the file and oh wait, save save the spreadsheet as the yeah. I saved the file and then while I was saving it, it offered me the option to change the name. And I changed it to donation.
Good. Now, if you notice there, stay where you are. If you notice, there are two save options there. There is save, and then there is save as. Is there a difference between the two? Anyone?
So you can save it, but if you save it as, you have the option to rename it.
Okay, that's true. Anyone else?
Sir, for me, when I clicked save as, it kept saving the workbook as a duplicate.
Good.
So yeah.
You can continue.
Yeah, so it wasn't the same file anymore, and while it was saving as a duplicate, remember, well, it was a duplicate. The name I couldn't get it as the same name, so it was donations 2, donations 3, and so on. Yeah.
Good. Good. So, if you were to explain the difference between the two, please take note of the following. The save option is used to save a current file that is already saved. The save option is used to save a file that was already saved. So it's basically used to save changes. So if you open a file and you make some changes to the file, the save option is what you're supposed to use. Once you want to save the changes to that file, you're using the save option. That's the purpose of save, to save changes to the same file, to the current file. Now the save as option, it's basically when you want to create a new file, or when you want to create a duplicate file, when you want to create another version of the file, and even creating a different type of file. So when you click on save as, click on it. This box will always appear. Click on browse. This box here, where's the box? Yes. This box here will always appear. It's going to ask you for the file name and it's going to ask you for a file type. So if you want to make another copy of this file, you can do so, and you do that with the save as option. You can even save it as a different type of file. Now, where was I heading with this? Right. So, have you guys ever noticed that when you open a new file, you just open a new Word document? When you open that new Word document and you click on save, even though you click on save, what happens? You open a new document, a brand new document, and you click on save, not save as, you click on save. What happens? No one? Y'all never open a new document and save it?
No, not without entering data onto it.
Yes, you enter data, you open a new file, say you open a new Word document. And you click on and you put in information and you save it. What happens when you save it?
Data saved.
Just like that. Doesn't it give you the option to type in the name of the file and save the location and so on?
Yes, actually, yes, it does.
Doesn't this same box appear?
Yes.
So what actually happens is that click cancel. What actually happens is that pretend this is a new file. If this was a new file that was never saved previously, and you click on save, if you ever notice, must check it anytime you're on the computer. You open a new file and you click on save, it's actually going to open the save as box. So that same box that we just opened, click back and browse. So this same box here, when you open a brand new file and you click on save, the same box will appear. Why? Because we're saving a new file. So we have to save the name, we have to save the type, and we have to save the location. So please remember the difference between save and save as. Save, you're saving the changes to the current document, whereas save as, you are creating a new document, or you can say you're creating another version of the document. Are you guys following?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's it for Anaya and her presentation. A round of applause for Anaya. No claps for Anaya. Got really selfish, man. Akila. 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 Shahim,
Yes, sir.
you're on your computer?
Yeah.
You want to do exercise 2 for us?
So which numbers are the entire thing?
We're gonna work with the entire exercise 2. There's not a lot of you here, and then not a lot of you got computer, so it's exercise 2.
Sir, it's not allowing me to share. What I have to do? Click entire screen?
Yeah.
It didn't allow me to share. I can't press the share button.
Clicking on the top, you probably got to share the window instead of the entire screen, because I had the same problem.
Alright.
Not sure why you guys get the problem with share screen. Akila, you're alive?
Y'all can see it there?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm seeing Akila and muting, but I'm not hearing anything. We're not hearing you, Akila. Can you hear us, Akila? We're still not hearing you. We're seeing you're unmuting, but we're not hearing you. Either way, let's continue. Exercise 2. You're required to use the main sheet to continue the exercise. And in cell A10, you need to type total quantity of donations. You're unmuted. Muted.
Sir, just click on the cell and just type in the name.
Good. Widen column A to fit the title in A10. How do we widen the column?
Sorry, you click on the top here, wait till it show like this here, and you just move it.
Okay, good. How do we auto fit?
You click on the square at the bottom here, and just drag it down.
Are you sure that's auto fit?
For auto fit. Trust me.
Anyone wants to help him? How do you auto fit? Shaniqua, Tamika.
Well, you could simply, Mom, a little bit. Yeah. So you can simply click on the top of the row, and it's, I don't know how to explain where you got click. Like right there. You click on it, and it's going to automatically widen to fit the largest row, the largest information row.
So that's a one click.
No.
How many clicks?
Good question. Yeah, two.
So a double click. So widen your Jahim.
I said double click.
I heard one click. Widen the cell, Jahim.
Sorry, I just did.
No, widen it a little more. Don't be afraid. Widen it. Make it larger. Don't be afraid to make it large. Good. Now auto fit it. Good. So that's how you auto fit. Now in B10, type equal sum B4 to B8.
Sir, just go into it, type equal, and just type in the function.
Good. What does the function do? What is the function doing?
Sir, it adds the everything from B4 to B8.
Very good. Insert a row at row 6 and enter the data. How do you insert a row at 6?
You click on the row and you go to insert at the top here and insert sheet row.
Good. Insert. Good. So notice the row was entered at 6 there. Good. Undo. And then you typed in the information. Good. So remember, whatever row number or column letter you want to insert, that's the one you have to click on, basically. Good. In A12, type total quantity. Good. In B12, type equal sum D4 to D9. What is that doing?
Alright, adds from D4 to D10.
Good.
D9, I mean.
A13, smallest quantity. And then in B13, equal min B4 to B9. What is that doing?
That shows the minimum amount from B4 to B9.
Good. And in A14, type largest quantity. And in the next cell, equal max B4 to B9.
It shows the maximum amount from B4 to B9.
Good. And the next types of items donated, and then we're going to use count A, A4 to A9. What is that doing?
So it shows how much is how much things inside of A4 to A9. Like how much things are listed between A4 and A9.
A better explanation. Look at the name of the function. What is it doing? It's like literally right there.
So it's counting from how much inside of A4 to A9.
Good. Counting how much data is inside of the cells, right?
Yes.
Counting if data is inside of the cells. Good. Now, why was count A used and not count?
Because count is used for text.
Only text?
Yes.
Anyone else? Mika?
So count is used for numerical data, while count A is used for both numerical and text.
Very good. That's correct. That's why we use count A, because we're counting basically any type of data, and it's mostly text we are counting. And so we could not have used count, which only counts numbers. Good. The next cell is count if E4 to E9 here. What is happening there?
Start counting how many times you have air between E4 and E9.
Good. That's correct. So here would be called what? In terms of the argument, the syntax. What is here? Shiniko? Or Jahim, go ahead. Anyone?
Sir, the criteria.
Right. The criteria. So here is the criteria. So the question, the criteria. In this range here, is there any air inside of it? So remember, whatever is in the criteria, that's what it will look for. So the next cell has equal average D4 to D9.
Or it tells you what's the average between D4 and D9.
Good. Now, 17. Use the name box to name cell F1 as QTY.
So you click on cell F1 and then you go to the name box and change the name.
Very good. Does anyone know how to delete that name though?
No, sir. Try to just delete them, right?
You can try.
Sir, we just delete this and press enter. Will that work?
It's probably the same name.
So you cannot delete it from the name box. If you want to delete a name, you have to go to the Formulas tab. You have to go to the Formulas tab. The tab, Jaim. But so under the Formulas tab, you're going to see the option of Name Manager. So click on it. In the Name Manager dialog box, we're not seeing it.
I don't know why it's not showing. It's showing up on my screen here.
Yeah, it's because of how you share screen and you're only doing that one window. So I think this went outside of the window. Either way, you guys can try it on your computer. Basically, when you click on that name manager, you're going to see options to create a new name. There's an option to delete a name, and you can even edit a name. So say for instance, you put in the wrong range into a name, you can edit it there also. So you guys can try that out later. So that is how you delete, edit, and even name ranges. Point number 18. In cell F4, type equal if B4 less than quantity, comma, quantity minus B4, comma, double quotation marks. So what's happening there?
Sir, it's saying if before is less than QT quantity.
Anyone wants to back him up? Akila, you want to try again? Still not hearing you. Anaya?
Yes, sir. So it's saying if quantity is less than B4, then you need to minus the B4 by quantity. Or well, if it's less than B4, but if it's not less than B4, just put the blank cell.
Very good. That is it. So it's running that test. If it is less than quantity, if it is true, the true part will be carried out. So whatever is in that true section will be carried out. In this case, we have QTY minus B4. So that will be carried out if it's true. But if it is false, we have double quotation marks appearing at the end, or basically something, a blank cell. So moving on, use the autofill option.
Sorry, just click on the box at the bottom here and
Right.
slide down to the autofill.
Akila, maybe,
So she says something wrong with her mic.
yeah, maybe just after she tried to present, it just stopped working. Not sure if maybe it's still presenting and it's taking over her microphone, or she disabled her microphone. You can try restarting your computer afterward, after class, and see what happens if it's still giving the same problem. Hopefully it doesn't be the same for your other classes. Alright, but so you guys know how to autofill. Any questions though on any part of the exercises that we've looked at so far? Are you guys following with everything?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So the next 20, point number 20, insert a row at 8.
We'll just go and then you insert and then insert sheet row.
Good. Now use the autofill to copy the function from F8 to F7 to F8. Update that cell. Good.
Sorry, just do the same thing.
Correct. Now 23. A loan of 30,000 was used to manage the donations collected and pay staff. The interest rate of 7.25. The repayment is 5 years. Type the data in. So point number 24. In case 6, type out that entire function, PMT, and all of the rest. So what is happening there? You gotta auto fit for see the rest. Even though you turn on that formula view, you can still resize in order to see the formula. So what's happening there with that PMT?
So I was saying for the payments, dividing K4 divided by 12 and K5 times 12.
So what's with the division, what's with the multiplication? Why are we dividing? Why are we multiplying? Simple maths. Why? Shaniqua? Tamika?
Sir, I'm not sure.
It's simple maths, Akila. The values that they gave us for this loan, what kind of how should I phrase it? In what kind of time period is it in? Is it in months or is it in years?
Years.
It's in years. So if you want to calculate the monthly prepayments, what do you have to do? If they give you the information in years, 7% per year, 5 years to repay, but you want to calculate the monthly repayment, what do you have to do?
Sir, divide by 12.
So what are you basically doing?
Sure, find it for 1 year.
Sir,
Tamika?
sir, finding how much you pay for 1 month.
For 1 month. But why are we dividing by 12 and multiplying by 12? What are we basically doing? What are you basically there doing with the information, the yearly information? When you divide a number by 12 and when you multiply years by 12, what are you doing?
Sir, can I answer for that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, you basically converting it to the rate in which you're paying your loan, basically.
For what period? You're
Um,
halfway here.
What period, and it would differ whether it's months or years. When in this case, it's years.
You run away from it. But basically, you're converting to months. You're converting the information that they gave you to months. So they gave you the information in years. Turn off the formula view. So they gave you the information in years. The interest rate is 7.25 per year. It's 5 years you have to repay. All the information is in years. Obviously, loan amount is for the entire period, so you don't need to worry about that. But the interest rate in the years, that is in years. Now, if you had carried out the if you created the function without doing any conversion, you are going to get a yearly repayment because the information is in the years. It's just simple maths. The information is in years, so once you calculate with that information, you're going to get the yearly repayment. But once you start converting it, once you start dividing the 7.25 by 12, you're dividing how much interest rate per month. And once you multiply 5 by 12, you're calculating, instead of 5 years, how much months I have to repay. And when you put that into your function now, you're basically going to get your monthly repayment. You guys remember we were talking about all that?
Yes, sir.
Good. Well, please don't forget it once again. If you use the function by itself, turn on back the formula view or open the formula. If you use the function without multiplying and dividing, once the information is yearly, you're going to get the yearly repayment. But once you're doing converting, it means you got the information in years and you want the monthly repayment. It's simple maths. You just have to remember how things are calculated. Great. So that's it for exercise 2 for Jahim. A round of applause for him. All right, so exercise 3. Let's see. So Shaniqua, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Are you on your computer?
No, sir.
You don't have a computer?
Sir, currently it's not on.
You weren't expecting to present? Can you turn it on so that you can at least do one of the remaining chapters?
Okay, sir.
Akila, I know we can't hear you, but you should be able to still present if you're on a computer. Are you on your computer? Akila? Or it's not allowing you to present also. Think Akila went away. Tamika, you say you don't have a computer, right?
No, sir. I did mine with a kilo.
Alright. So Anaya, I guess we're back to you, and then we're gonna go finish off with Akila, Shaniqua. Or I wonder if we should go with Jahim instead of letting Anaya go through that struggle once again.
It's up to you, sir.
Who should we go with? Anaya or Jahim?
Jahim, tonight feels like Shaheen's night.
Jahim,
Yes, sir.
you want to do the rest?
No.
Tab to tab audio. Wait, a window. Why keep pressing tab? Yes. Right.
Apologies, Mr. Law. We thought you should hear from us before you see
So, am I on?
Yeah.
She's still here in town.
So we're at exercise 3. Type in the following data. So you have that data there. Good. Rename sheet 2 as expenses.
Anonymous
Alright,
messages.
did that.
On the streets.
Good.
Break-ins, anything like
In cell E4, type equal C4 times E4.
that? What's the next?
Good.
Doesn't matter.
And use the autofill to copy the function. Formula.
Yeah. Wait, no. Editing.
That's your publisher, so
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
have to let that go.
Good. Use the name box. So name F2 as this.
Something I don't supply. No.
Good.
You have to admit, you know, this conversation.
In F4, enter a formula to calculate discount. So that's going to be E4 times this. Good. Use autofill.
You have to admit that it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
So can you turn on the formula view?
A very different thing. Now, if you don't mind, I need to go and let me ask you something. Would it make you feel safer if we parked the unit outside your house?
Wait, no.
It would. Thank you.
Anyone wants to help?
No.
Anyone wants to help her with the keys to the formula view?
Look, if you want to help me, find her, bring her in. And if I hear from her, you'll be the first people I call. Fair enough.
Jahid?
Good day now. Oh.
So by the time you are saying this,
There's a message.
I'm sorry that I didn't tell you everything right when I broke down.
Control.
But I couldn't.
Control and the tilde key or the key above tab.
The only way to prevent Rick from having
Good.
to contact him directly.
So in this, that formula and those two formulas that you created here, why does one have all cells, but then one has a name of a cell renamed, a cell name, a cell renamed?
Sir, can you please repeat?
Why does one of the formula in the E column, the formulas in the E column, use cell names, regular cell names, C4, D4, and so on? But in the F column, we have a cell named this.
That might actually become a thing.
Sir, because we changed, I can't remember which cell we changed, but we changed the name of the cell to this, so it's basically just using that name to calculate, or was it a range? I can't remember. It was a name or a range. Probably that was part of the question, but yeah, it's using that to calculate the name.
But why are we using that name? Why aren't we using the name of the cell or the name of the range?
What happened between us was a mistake.
Sir, cause you rename to this.
No. When you rename a cell, please remember it doesn't take over the name. You can still use both names. So you can still use the previous name. Shaniqua?
Sir, I think is when you're using the autofill, it will change from from E2, it will continue going in order.
Mhm. Continue. So why are we using this?
Sir, it's a yes, you can say it's a fixed name, and you can. It's easier to remember. You can find it easily.
Good. You gave the two important reason. One, it's an easy name to remember. So remember once again, once you name a cell, that name doesn't take over. It's like if you have a nickname. It's just an additional name. It's just an easier way to remember the cell name or the name of the range. And also, as Shrika mentioned, it's used as a fixed cell. So when you want it to remain the same when you're autofilling, we use that name range. So any of you remember what type of addressing that is?
Sir, absolute.
Absolute addressing. Very good. So when you don't want a cell to change, you use absolute addressing. So in this case here, you wanted that percentage to be calculated. You wanted to use that 12% all the time. So you use that fixed cell name and then autofill so that it would not change. So please remember that once again, we use the cell name that we rename it to for absolute addressing. And what is the other type of addressing?
Relative addressing.
Relative addressing. And what is relative addressing basically?
Call Go Medicare now to see if you're eligible at 800-981-4594, and a friendly, fully licensed insurance agent will find
If
you.
absolute would
These are
remain fixed,
See if you're eligible. Call the Go Medicare.
what would relative do?
800-981-4594. Remember, if you're on Medicare,
Relative changes the name, it
Did you
adjusts
know
the
that millions
name.
of Americans over
It
65
changes based on the location. It changes the name of the cell based on the location. It's relative location. Alright. So you autofill. It says to populate format the cells of cost, total cost for currency with 2 decimal place. So turn off the formula view. The same 2 keys. Good. So how do you make numbers currency with 2 decimal place?
Wait. I selected. Wait. I selected all of them, and then I click.
That's 800-981-4594. At Southern New Hampshire University.
So how do you make it currency?
Oh, I clicked on the dollar sign.
Okay. Is the dollar sign currency?
If the dollar sign is currency,
Yes, that dollar sign there.
no.
Click on the drop down arrow. No, don't go in the box. Alright, but right there. If you notice right there, there's 2 types of ways to represent money. There's currency and then there's accounting. It's basically the same thing, but just that they have 2 slight difference. What you can do for me, Anaya, close off the box and highlight the cost column with the numbers.
Come on. Mhm.
Good. And change it to accounting. Good. If you notice the difference between accounting and currency. On the right hand side for total cost and discount, that is currency. On the left hand side with costs, that is the accounting format. One of the difference is the position of the dollar sign. The other difference is how they represent zero. So we can do, Anaya, any one of the cost cell, just type in zero.
Anyone in the console?
Yeah, just type in zero. No, that's the number zero.
Oh,
Press enter. If you notice how currency and accounting represents a zero. Accounting puts a dash for a zero, whereas currency puts an actual zero. So it's basically the same thing. It has a dollar sign, it's used for money, but it's two different ways of representing or presenting the money. Not represent, presenting the money. The position of the dollar sign and how it displays the zero. So you have to remember the difference between the two here. Alright, so it says to update 15 to 12 and then name the range A4 to C7.
sorry. Yeah, update.
Let's show how you name the range A4 to C7. Good, so you highlighted it there.
And then you just simply click on the name box and change the name. Press enter.
Well, that's it for you there. Shaniqua, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you can just go ahead and share. All right, so exercise 4. We have to use the expenses sheet to continue this exercise. We're going to use cells E10, E11, and E12. Enter the appropriate function to calculate the average, cheapest, and most expenses. So what is the function for to calculate average?
Sir, equal average, open bracket, range, and then close bracket.
Good. What is the function for the cheapest cost?
Equal min, open bracket, the range, close bracket.
Good. And what would be the function for the most expensive?
Equal max, open bracket, range, close bracket.
All right. Let's click on it. Let me see what we have there. So we have min there, and we have max there. Good. So remember, average is spelled out, average, and only min and max are shortened. All right, in E13, enter an appropriate function to calculate how many services are offered.
Sir, I did equal count A expenses, exclamation mark, B4 to B7, close bracket.
So what is happening there with this function?
Sir, it's counting how many cells from on the expenses sheet. How many cells have data from B4 to B7?
Very good. But do you understand what's happening there with that expenses exclamation mark?
Sir, I'm not really sure about the how that was done, but
Okay. Basically, that comes up when you are typing in a formula and you click on a sheet name. So, say for instance, I'm going to show you guys in another class because I'll need to show it from my computer. But I'll show it at the end of class. We'll come back to that. So, in cell E14, enter an appropriate function to calculate how many services had discount of more than 2000. So what's happening there?
sir, equal sign count if expensive exclamation mark the range and then comma up the quotation mark less than 2000 quotation mark close bracket.
So what's basically
Sir,
happening?
it's counting how many cells from the range F4 to F7 have a total amount of less than 2000 in each cell on that sheet.
Less than?
Miss Sir, more than.
Good, very good. So how many cells have more than 2000 inside of them in that range there? Good, very good. So what is the criteria here in this function?
Sir, that would be more than 2000.
More than 2000. Very good. All right. So exercise number 5. In the other sheet, you are supposed to type in the data there. Double click on sheet 3, rename it as menu. In cell C3, type in equal VLOOKUP C2 service 2 false. So click on C3. Okay. So what's happening there?
Sir, it's searching for the information. It's searching for
Remember, to explain a function, you have to remember what are the arguments. Once you remember the arguments, you take it step by step. You explain what is the first argument, what is the second argument, what is the third argument, what's the fourth, what's the fifth, and that's how you explain how a function works. So let's break it up into the arguments. What is the first argument doing? What's the second one doing? What's the third? And you'll get a better understanding as to what is happening. So what is the first argument here?
Sir, it's searching for the information that is in C2.
Very
It's
good.
checking the range on the next sheet, the range that is named service.
Mhm.
Is it too far?
You can call for help. No help coming for rescue? Or the helpers need rescuing also. Tamika?
Sir, this helper needs rescuing as well.
Jahim?
Sir, I don't know.
So yeah, let's type in things and y'all know. Anaya?
to explain it. It's looking on the previous sheet, the service sheet. Well, no, not the service sheet. What am I saying? Not the service. It's looking in the service range.
Good.
Well, it's looking in the service range to see if what is it looking for? I know what. See what it's like. I don't know how to
Look at the
explain.
syntax. Look at the arguments.
Don't even have to look quickly. Alright. It's looking for something in the range of detail.
So what is it looking for? Shiniko?
Sir, is it looking in row 2?
Yeah, that's. What's it looking in row 2 for? Is it row 2? Or is it row? Or is it column?
Sir, it's the row column.
Well, obviously, it could be either. It's supposed to be either one. There's only two.
Sir, I think I'm gonna go with column.
Yeah, column.
Column is correct.
And then I know for sure the last one if it's started or not. True if it's started, false if it's not.
Alright, so let's go it over once again. So the VLOOKUP function has 4 arguments. You can tell by the 4 different colors you see in there, it has 4 different arguments. Now the first argument is the lookup value. What are you looking for? So what we're looking for is inside of cell C2. That's what we are looking for. So the first argument, what are you looking for? So it's like if you're going to look for something, that's the lookup value. That's what you're going to look for. So if I was going to look for Jahim, Jahim would have been my lookup value. That would have been in that part of the argument. If I was looking for Jahim, the word Jahim would have been there instead of C2. So that's what I'm looking for. But in this case, remember we're using cell names because that's more effective, because you can change what is inside of the cell. So you use C2 as the lookup value, and whatever you type in C2, it will look for whatever's in C2. So that's your lookup value. The second argument is the range. Where are you looking for this value? That's why we name the range service, so that we can tell it to look for this value in this range here. So the second argument, where are you looking for this value? The third argument, when you found this value, which column of data do you want to bring over into the cell? Do you want to bring over the second column, the third column, the fourth column, the fifth column? Which column do you want to bring over into the new cell? And then the last syntax, as you mentioned, is whether the data was sorted or not sorted. So true if it was sorted, false if it was not sorted. So I want you guys to once again do over, especially this VLOOKUP part. Change up the values, change up the range, change up the columns. Try to change the values, try to change the function, break it, try to make it back so that you can understand how VLOOKUP works. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So the next part was basically to change the next one, C4, was just to change to The one below. Yeah, you would just. So if you notice, turn on the formula view. I'm not sure if it's gonna work. Control, yeah. If you notice, the VLOOKUP looks exactly the same. The two functions there, they look exactly the same. The same lookup value, the same range, the same false. But there's only one difference, the column that they are bringing over. That's basically how VLOOKUP works. You're looking for the same value, you're looking inside the same range, but based on the column, you can bring over different data. So the first one is bringing over the second column, and the last one is bringing over the third column data. And that's simply all it is doing. It's looking for something, you tell it where to look. When it has looked for something, when it has found something, it's going to bring over something else. It's like if you send somebody to the shop, you tell them look for mango, they're going to look for something else. They're going to look for orange, they're going to look for banana, and they're going to bring back either one. So it's like if there's a criteria, unless the shop got the mango, then don't bring back anything. Once you found this mango at this shop, then you can bring back, if they got banana, if they got orange, or they bring back something else. But unless they have found that value, they would not be able to bring back anything. So turn off the formula view. So that's why you get an error there. It went to the range, and there is no HE inside of the range. And that's why you get the error there, found nothing. So if you type in SF, it has a SF inside of the range. And that is why it's going to bring over data into this cell here, into these two cells. So unless it has found what it is looking for in the first place, only then it will be able to bring over anything. Alright, so that's it for exercise 5. Exercise 6 was basically using that tab key to go between formula view and the normal view. So we're gonna look at exercise 7, or final exercise. So go back to the main sheet. And in G3, you were supposed to type priority. Good. In cell, select the range C5 to C10 and name it shipping. C5 to C10. How did you select the range C5 to C10 and name it shipping? We're not hearing you, Shaniqua.
Sorry, you highlight the range from C5 to C10.
Is that C?
C5. And you go to the name box and name it shipping.
Good. So in G4 now, you're supposed to type equal rank C4 shipping 1, or you could use rank EQ. So, alright, go to the one below. So what's happening there? Think you can explain that one? What's happening?
Sir equal rank, open brackets, C5 shipping 1, close bracket. Sir, It's checking. So it's checking C5 and then it's checking the range.
What is it checking for? Anyone wants to back her up?
So I think it's checking for the order,
Right.
the rank, the order of rank. Right? Which one's first, last, second?
But if you were to explain what's happening here, like if you were trying to break it down simple for somebody to understand, Anaya?
Third, you're checking, no, you're putting it in an order based on a sorted list, or you're changing the position based on, yeah, whether it be in an ascending order, like, first, second, third. Explain it.
Basically, you're ranking it.
Yeah. Yep.
So who is first, who's second, who's third, who's fourth, and so on. So we understand that part. We're ranking the information to say who's first, who's second, who's third, and so on. So in this case here, they're prioritizing who gets shipped first, who gets shipped second, who gets shipped fourth, and so on, based on the date. So the earlier the date, you have a higher priority. You're number one. But how is the rank function working? Well, it has three arguments once again. The first argument, that's C5, is basically what you want to rank. It's a single value. Click on the function, open it, and it's going to highlight all of the cells for us.
Sorry, me?
Yeah, you're the one screen sharing. Open the function, like if you're editing it. No, don't do that. Don't put it on the formula view. Just open the one of it, like if you're editing it. Double click on it. Good. So if you notice the C5, it's highlighted yellow, that one single cell. It's ranking that one single cell. So it's one single value you are ranking. So we can use the example like C5, we can say that's Tamika. We're ranking Tamika, that one single person. Now we need to compare Tamika to something, and that's the shipping range. Because you got to compare it to something in order for it to rank her. You got to compare that C5 to something in order to rank it. So that's why we have that range shipping, so that we can compare that single value to the entire range of shipping, and we can get the rank. And basically, the last argument is whether the rank should be in ascending order, one to the largest to the smallest, or it should be in descending order, largest to the smallest, or Z to A. You guys following?
Yes, sir.
So the rank function is like if the C5 is like Tamika, and we're comparing it to all of you right here to see whether Tamika is greater than Anaya, or if Jahim is second, or if Shaniqua is third, whatever the case may be. You're comparing that one with everyone else to get that rank. And that's why if you look at the rest of the functions going down, you can notice, you can turn on the formula view now. You can notice all of them looking the same, extend it so that we can see out of it. Left click. Just click and drag. Okay. So if you notice, all of them looking almost the same, equal rank, and it's just that one single cell that is being changed. That one single cell, because it's in each row, you're ranking a different value there. You're ranking a different cell, you're comparing it to that range to see what position does it get in that range. All right, quickly turn off the formula view. And if you notice the last value there, it gave you error. Anyone knows why we got that error?
Because of the date format.
What's happening with the date format?
I don't know. I think it's because, well, we gotta leave how the date is. So you had to change it to the month, then the date, then the year.
So basically, the month, not the month, the date had an issue. The date has an issue. So by default, when you're typing in date, the format for the date is actually month, then year, then day, and then year. So that's 15 there is actually representing the month, and there's actually no 15th month. So Shaniqua, if you change that 15 to 10, notice the error disappears because it now considers it a date. So by default, month is first, day is second, and year is last. But changing the date, you just created a new date. You didn't fix the problem. What you're actually supposed to do is format the information. So you were supposed to actually undo what you did there, Shaniqua. So you were supposed to actually highlight all the data, click on format, and go to number, go to we're looking for more options. Click on the custom date time at the bottom, custom date time. So what you got to do now is swap the month and the day. Alright, so it's not giving you that there. So what you got to do is click on one of the formats below. Click on the, click on that first one there. It's still, alright, scroll down. You gotta look for one that's gonna put the date first and then the month. Look for one that looks like that. The day first and then the month. Yeah, that one looks like it. Good. Apply. Still giving you the same issue. Click back on the last one and go back to the date, the same format, and go back to the same date, custom, and it's fixed the dates, month and year, so but it's still not click off close the box. Just type over the data.
Sure, I had the same problem. Like for some reason, it wasn't applying to that cell.
now it's updated here. I think you just need to type it over, maybe because the format didn't update automatically. So if you had changed the 15th to another day, you're basically changing the date. So reformatted in it was basically what you would have needed to do to fix the issue. Alright, so that's it for that exercise there. Let me just show the last thing and then we're going to conclude. So Shaniqua, thank you there. Let's see. Let me get an Excel up and running. Alright, good. No, I don't think you guys see my screen. Let me know when you guys see my screen.
Yes, sir. I can see it through.
Alright. So what happens when you're typing a formula? You type equal and then you click a cell is going to appear when you're typing, when you're creating a formula. Now, if you have a sheet, so I gotta create a sheet first. If you got a sheet at the bottom here, so equal a cell, what happens when you click on a sheet? If you look at the top here, the sheet name appears. So if you have ever noticed, even though you create different sheets, it's still the same A1, A, B, C, D. When you go to another sheet, it's the same A, B, C, D. You go to another sheet, the same A, B, C, D. 1, 2, 3, all the way going down, it's still the same thing. How does it differentiate between these same cell names? There's an A1 here. There's an A1 over here. There's an A1 here also. How does it differentiate? It differentiates it based on the sheet name. So that is why when you press equal and you press on a sheet, if you notice at the top here, it's saying sheet 2 exclamation mark. So what is happening here? It's indicating, and when you click on a cell now, sheet 2 exclamation mark C2. So what actually happens there, this here is referring to the sheet location, and then this is the cell inside of that that sheet. So you can actually put that plus the C2 in this cell over here, and it's gonna work. So if I put 4 there, 4 is gonna appear, and I think it was C2 from here, 3. So notice I have 7 here. So it's linking this C2. It's linking this C2 from this sheet 2. So whenever you see a sheet name with an exclamation mark, it's referring to a sheet, and then the cell after it refers to the cell from that sheet. And then you can basically use it like if it was a cell, a regular cell. So basically that was what happened there. So anytime you create a formula and you notice that happen, you press equal and you accidentally clicked on a sheet, the sheet name will appear, and you click back on the sheet again because you were created over here, this will appear. You just simply delete it and you continue putting in whatever your cells are and complete your formula. But it's just indicating that this cell here belongs to this sheet here. That's all it's indicating. So it's just indicating that there. Alright, any questions before we close off?
Sure. Like simple mistakes, right? How many marks would like a simple mistake cost you? Like for example, we merge and centered when you're just supposed to merge. Would that be like a half mark or a mark?
for the assignment when I was marking it?
Yes, sir.
I don't think I took out a mark really for that. I'm not sure.
Okay, sir. And when will our grades be returned to us?
As soon as I remember to mark it, because honestly, I keep forgetting I have to mark for you guys.
Okay, sir.
I finished marking for my entire class, and I think I marked 2 persons for your class from this group, and I forgot about the rest. So hopefully tomorrow, just remind me now and then to check, because for some reason I keep forgetting.
Okay, sir. No problem.
Any other questions? All right. If no questions, please remember once again, practice your exercise. Your CSEC exam, you have to start preparing for now. Your CSEC exam, especially your paper 2 exam, I tell students it's a practical, but you don't get a computer. You have to do it practical in your head. So all of this same feature that I talk about here, you have to remember it mentally in your mind to answer questions on your CSEC paper. You have to be able to know why this happened here. Why when you click on a sheet that appeared, where is the name manager? Where will I find filter? Where will I find formatting and all of these options? You have to remember all of that. You have to be able to accurately describe it. Go to the formula tab, you're going to find the name manager. Go to the home tab, you're going to find the formatting section. And only when you are practicing with your exercise, then you will be able to remember. So please ensure you're constantly practicing your exercise. It's simple exercises, it tells you exactly what to do, and it will help you to remember most of the features that you have to remember for your CSEC exam. Are you guys following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so if you guys don't have any questions on anything we looked at for tonight, we're going to close off here. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Sir, did you show us the relative addressing? The other way out? You said you would show us it to
The absolute addressing.
the other way for it.
Because relative only has one way. So for example, if you do equal C1 plus D1, whenever you copy this here and it changes, that is relative addressing. Whenever a cell changes, that is relative addressing. There's only one way of relative addressing. So I think what you mean is the other way for absolute addressing. So for example, this D here now, this D1, say we do not want it to change. So you would put dollar signs, a dollar sign in front of the D, or you can say a dollar sign in front of the column letter, and then a dollar sign in front of the row number. And you enter, and you basically autofill that. And if you notice, all of it has D1. So that's the one method of absolute addressing. And the other method is basically naming the cell. So I can name this test. If you notice, the same D1. And if you notice, I'm going to use A1 times test. So when I copy this here now, autofill, test remains, that's the auto method. So that's the 2 methods there of absolute addressing. Naming the range and using the dollar sign. A dollar sign before the column letter and a dollar sign before the row number. And if you notice, remember I said, when you name a cell, the name doesn't take over. Because notice I'm using both of them. I'm using D1 and I'm using Tess. It refers to the same cell over here. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Alright, so remember these are the two methods of absolute addressing. Once you rename a name and rename a cell or a range, it's just like if you're giving it a nickname. So instead of saying Tamika, maybe you might say Mika or Ka. It's referring to the same person. So you can use any one of the names. Alright. No other questions? So you guys,
Sir,
yeah.
you said you would show us how to delete the
Oh, delete the
the
name.
name box.
Alright, so if you want to delete the name now, so for example, I named this here Tess. And if you want to delete this now, you cannot go into the name box here to delete it. It won't allow you. So we have to go to formulas, go to the name manager, and this box will appear. So this is the name manager box. So if you actually want to create a name, a name range, you can actually do that here. But this is a bit more technical than the highlight and the typing in of the name. So you can actually type in the name you want, choose the workbook, type in the comment, type in the sheets, the cells that we want. But that's a lot more work. If you want to, so we have a range here, a name range. If you notice the delete option here. But we can edit it first. So say for instance, I want to change the name. I don't want it as test anymore. I want it as Jahim. So I just renamed it as Jahim. Okay. And if you notice the name updated here, and if you close, notice it's going to update for me because I just changed the name. So if I want to delete it now, delete. Are you sure? Yes. And I just deleted the name range. You notice a bunch of errors popped up here because this name doesn't exist anymore. So that's basically how you use the name manager to delete and edit the cell range or the cell name. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Alright. Seems Shaniqua is very thorough with her classes. And I thought Anaya was the diligent one.
For me?
Or is it Tamika?
No, sir, no, it's not me.
Jahim? Can't be Jahim.
Sorry, this rude, buddy.
You never want to help out Anaya earlier.
I can't help myself. I don't know. I can't help you if I don't know the answer.
You could have struggled with her instead of leaving her to struggle on her own. You gotta learn to experience.
Sir, whether it's unspoken or not, we all struggle together.
Okay. Once you understand each other's pain. Alright, any other questions?
Okay.
Alright. Yeah, I want to talk about what Anaya did today.